Okay, I am a minute late. I will call the May 14th village board meeting to order. And I would ask you to stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Or no, actually, clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Duncan?
Here.
Trustee Grundon? Trustee Mansell? Here. Trustee Martenson?
Here.
Trustee Mitchell?
Here.
And Trustee Saylor?
Here. And trustee Grundon has the excused leave. She's on vacation in Costa Rica. So, please rise. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence, please, for all of our ward men. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous board meeting.
Moved. Second.
Mr. Duncan made the motion, second by Ms. Mitchell. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 5, a motion to approve the minutes of the April 16th, 2019 reorganizational board meeting.
Moved.
Mr. Duncan made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Martenson. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I was going to call for public comments, but nobody wants to say anything tonight, so that's fine too, I guess.
Oh, you do it.
Before I looked at this, I wrote no on that. So can I renege on that, and can you give me 15
I will
seconds?
let you have 3 minutes, Wes.
All right, I was just wondering why, for the streets infrastructure and recreation, I thought we were gonna do something for the UTV thing, get a committee together, or, I just see that we're not doing anything on that. I was wondering, why not?
We are moving forward with that, but the decision was there needs to be more discussion, and so it was moved on to the Public Safety Committee. So they are considering and looking at different aspects related to public safety.
I mean, did we have some kind of a committee when we opened up Seneca Road?
What do you mean, committee?
Well, they're talking about they want to get a committee together to decide what we're going to do with the rest of the streets in Port Edwards as far as UTV, ATV. Did we do that before we opened up Seneca? Because if we already went through that study, why are we doing it twice? Or didn't we do it the first time?
We did do a study. There's people that made it more. Eric, can you remember?
Yep, the Seneca part was just it was open on one side, so we had to have, and it was just my committee at the time, the CERT committee, and we just opened the other side of the road, so they could leave and they could come back. That was it, there was no study or nothing for that.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering, because I know there was questions about signage and stuff like that, and I just wondered if we had looked at that or not before.
You've been in the same meetings that I've been in,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's still,
Right.
the ball's still rolling.
All right, great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, under President's Report, I want to point out to the trustees that in the last issue of the Municipality Magazine, they have a lot to deal with licensing, liquor, cigarettes, fireworks, and the like. I highly encourage you to read that. It's very informative, and those are the issues that we deal with day in and day out. Committee reports. Airport Commission, I really don't have anything. I didn't get the minutes, and if I did, I accidentally deleted them. But take a trip by the airport. They've got a lot of construction going on out there, so that's all I got. Unless anybody else has.
You actually sent me the minutes.
No, we do have them. But I have nothing on it. You? Police and Fire Commission, President Stewart, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Police and Fire Commission last met on May 6th at 6:30. Our minutes will be submitted when our secretary returns from out of town. He mistakenly left without submitting the minutes, but they'll be submitted in, I think, a week and a half or so. As far as some of our latest work, two police and fire commission members subcommittee met with fire department members during their May business meeting. We made a short presentation as to what the police and fire commission responsibilities are and answered all questions that the group had. Another note that we addressed during our last meeting was we recognized a complimentary comment made from a citizen about police officer Andrew Merkus. Andrew had responded to and investigated a tragic tree cutting accident where a woman was killed. The husband of that victim sincerely appreciated Officer Merkus' quick response, his compassion, and the professionalism he exhibited during that incident. So we're always very happy to hear compliments on our employees such as that. As far as our police chief search status, here's what's going on. Everything's going as planned and is on schedule. Our resume review phase begins after the application deadline of May 24th. An initial background investigation will be conducted on all applicants. An extensive and thorough background investigation will be conducted towards the end of the process on the top candidates. Other steps include a commission interview where we will focus on areas to include integrity, character, and experience. There is a law enforcement leadership panel assessment that is scheduled sometime during the week of June 10th. This panel consists of Sheriff Sean Becker, retired Wisconsin Rapids Chief and retired Sheriff Kurt Hoyer, and Marshfield Police Chief Rick Ramza. This leadership panel will focus on operational and leadership skills for our candidates. We're also planning a meet and greet, and I think it is the third week of June. We haven't picked the exact date. Meet and greet phase is something that's open to the community, open to board members, of course. We're thinking Austin's. We're talking with Bert to hold it there. Probably a late afternoon, early evening session where we meet for about an hour and a half with our top two, probably, candidates by that time, narrowed down to that. We're going to have like a 3x5 index card feedback available. We'll hand out to citizens. They can chat with the police candidate for chief and leave some written comments for the commission in a box. That gets to us towards the end of the process. We may do a final interview, and depending on how many candidates have made it through that many phases, and then enter into a pre-employment offer. And then that candidate can negotiate with FHR committee for particular benefits. But we're excited about it, and everything's going as planned. Also, the other thing that we...
Scott,
Yes?
is there any thought being given as to who will be doing the background check?
Yes. We have a independent police agency who graciously offered to do that for us for free. And they've got quite a bit of experience in that area and do a very thorough background. We're going to do a preliminary background check, but that's just basically Wisconsin criminal history. The thorough background with regard to employers, neighbors, references, interviews, character assessments. We will be doing that this agency that offered to do that for us for free. So, and I've got a lot of confidence in this agency that's going to be doing it for us. So, good.
I'm sorry, what was the date on the meet and greet? Or
It's
has
not
that been set?
specific,
Okay.
but looking at a day in the third week of June.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
since you're dealing with the chief here, will the commission be setting up the site eval?
That I need some help with from village staff as to the traditional facility that has been used. But yes, site is definitely going to be performed, as well as medical. The other thing that we've clarified is a process to bring on new firefighters, entry-level firefighters. And the steps for that is, and it's actually going on right now, the Fire Department Membership Committee will conduct criminal history background on those applicants via assistance from the Port Edwards Police Department. They will also, the membership committee will also conduct an additional background investigation to include neighbor, employer, and reference interviews. They will then create a written report for the commission. The commission will provide a subcommittee of 2 members who will join with 2 members of the membership committee to conduct interviews of these applicants. Commission then appoints the candidate as an associate member. Now then, as most of you know, that associate member goes through some extensive training to get their minimum of Fire 1 certification. Subsequent to that training and during and with the fire chief's evaluation, then the membership committee will vote to approve that member to member status. Commission will not become involved in that area since we already did it, the initial part, assessment, character, and interview with the membership committee. So that's how the new fire members are going to come on board. The other housekeeping stuff that we've created, there's a subcommittee created by the commission, which is going to meet with 2 fire department membership committees to examine the fire department bylaws and compare that to the commission manual. Most changes that need to be made involve semantics like changing village board to police and fire commission as it reads now. That will begin in the next month or so. Yeah. What we would like to do eventually is establish a working subcommittee with members of the Planning, Legislative, and Property Information Technology Committee to do the same thing and get our Chapter 5 village ordinances in sync with Police and Fire Commission rules. And same deal there. A lot of times it's just changing village board appoints to Police and Fire Commission appoints. No substantial changes besides stuff that we need to get to eventually. Yes, sir.
We've done some of that in the past, like 15, 20 years ago when I was chief, and what they did back then is they had the chair of, or a member of the public safety with the PID committee, you know, to go through all the changes instead of having, you know, all the members get together, and then they
Yeah.
brought them back for approval.
Absolutely, and that's what we would like to do too. Yeah. Our next meeting is technically a special meeting. It's not a regular meeting, and that is for our resume review process for police chief. And that is going to be May 28th at 6:30 at the municipal building.
Can I ask you how many applicants you currently have for police chief?
Yes, but I'd rather not say. And one of the reasons that is there is a confidentiality waiver that applicants sign indicating that at this time in this stage of the process, they would not like us to release any information, whether it's their current employer or whatever. So we got about a week and a half left, and I'm hoping to get more.
That's standard operating procedure.
Finally, Chief Arndt presented his recommendation to the Police and Fire Commission to promote Doug Kanowski to Second Assistant Fire Chief. And he told us a lot about Doug and his experience and his training education. And the commission approved this recommended appointment. At this time, I'd like to ask Chief Arndt to tell the board a little bit more about Doug, and I'd like to follow that with a ceremony whereby Second Assistant Chief Kanowski is sworn into his new position, and I'd like to ask Mrs. Kanowski if she'd be willing to pin on Doug's new badge for his promotion. Chief?
Okay, Mr. Doug Kanowski. Met him in 1990 when he came to get an interview with the fire department, Jim Anderson. He had a big beard. He,
Well, it was the 70s.
it was the 70s, yes. He actually, the day he got voted on, shaved his beard and became one of our best firefighters. He has been an integral part of our prevention, our open houses. For 25 years he's been running our open house. He could find money in a dry well for us when we needed. Wrote many grants and helped us get our defib. Doug has been one of our main firefighters for many years as far as going into the house. If you had him with you, you knew you were coming back out. Can't say enough about him. His family, his wife have put up with a ton of lost time with him, and I'm hoping that this makes up for some of it. So thank you, Doug. I appreciate it.
Mr. and Mrs. Kanowski, would you step up here? Diane wants to swear you in. Yeah, please face the camera.
Cameras are facing mine. When I met Jim Anderson, fire chief, he said, yeah, you'll do, come on in. But you'll have to wait for a little bit because it's our dinner meeting right now, so we can't let you in after the dinner meeting. But one thing that I've been very fortunate is my wife putting up with this BS that we deal with every day. Jim Anderson, quite a few years later, asked my wife one night, did you realize you were going to end up a firehouse widow? And she looked at Jim and said, well, yeah, pretty good idea. Jim said, well, what's that? Well, the night that he interviewed to get on the department was our 10th wedding anniversary. I see real well where I rank in the system. And to keep from getting myself shot, it's my wife, Kim. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't do this stuff.
I think that deserves a round of applause for Kim.
Raise your right hand and just repeat after me. I, Doug Kanowski, swear or affirm
I, Doug Kanowski, swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will fully and impartially discharge the duties of Assistant Chief to the Village Port Edwards Fire Department to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Okay. And then if you just want to sign. Okay. That's good. That's it.
Mrs. Kanowski, would you pin the assistant chief badge on?
This is awful.
You could get back on you now, Danny, now.
Yeah, sure could.
I should have been quiet when I said.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Doug. Well deserved.
that's the best part of my job. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Stewart. We will now go to Streets, Infrastructure, Recreation, and Cemetery Committee. Chairman Mitchell.
Okay, and to go back to ATV use, we did have a discussion at our last meeting, which was held on April 23rd, about ATV use, discussing both pros and cons of opening up village streets and roads to ATV use, and then decided to move this to public safety, as I mentioned previously. So it will come back to us at some point. There may be some other committees that this will be referred to as well. So it is still in the discussion stage, Mr. Haskey, and will continue. We also had discussion regarding grant-funded splash pad amenities, and that specifically is related to a shade structure. We had some excess money that could be used for that. So there will be a second shade structure that will be put up, and I'm sure probably you've all noticed all the huge pile of dirt back here. So they've begun work on the splash pad. So $14,000 is going to be allotted towards that second shade structure. And we're also going to be widening the sidewalk that comes around to the bathrooms so that people will go around the shelter and come to the bathrooms, kids in particular, and not walk through any reunions or meetings or whatever that are being held out here in the shelter. So those decisions were made. We also...
Really hopeful, huh?
I'm sorry?
Really hopeful, huh?
Really helpful.
Hopeful.
Oh, hopeful. True.
Yeah.
True. We also made a decision about the color of the concrete that will be at the bottom. Well, the bottom is not that far down, but the bottom of the pool. And colors, we're going to have yellow and blue posts on one shade structure and lime green with blue posts on the other. So you can look forward to that. That'll be later this summer, probably by the time we see those. And the color, let's see. Oh yeah, we're waiting to hear back from the company that is having the bicycle rack made, and let me see, what else do we talk about? Also the drinking fountain. So those colors will be announced at some future date too. Then we also had discussion and took action on the Market Street project. So the streets, the curbs, what else am I missing there? Sidewalks, right, are being taken care of. And I would move for approval for MSA professional service agreement not to exceed $18,500 to be used from the TIF fund to complete the this is the north side of Market Street project.
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Duncan, to approve MSA professional service agreement not to exceed $18,500 from the TIF for the use of the North Market Street project. Discussion. Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That passes unanimously.
Okay. Moving on, we also considered a motion to approve and so I will move to approve the county's bid for the 4th Street chip sealing project.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Duncan, to approve the county's bid on the 4th Street chip sealing project. Any discussion?
And for those who are interested, this goes from, it's 4th Street, but it goes from Latender to Verbunker.
Yes, Lou.
I do have a question. Is that, that bid that we got from the county, is that under the agreement that we only have to get the bid from the county? Is that correct? We only have to get one bid when it is the county bidding it? We
I
don't
don't
have,
know.
we don't have to get multiple
Okay.
bids, am I
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Okay. All those in favor of the motion as read will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed will signify by nay. That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, moving on to the 3rd Street project. This has increased from $90,000 to $98,000 because of the cost of oil, which has, of course, gone up. And we, as my understanding is, we have enough money in the budget to cover that amount. So I'm moving that we accept this project cost of on the 3rd Street project from $90,000 to $98,000 because funds are available in the original project budget.
Motion by Chairman Mitchell to increase, second by Trustee Duncan to increase the project cost of 3rd Street from $90,000 to $98,000. The funds are available in the original project budget. And do you want to let the people know where that's from and to where?
I need to turn to Administrator Kornman to,
Oh, 3rd Street's from Levine to Latender.
Okay. Any other discussion or anything? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, and then moving on to the 50/50 program from, that's a Wood County program, and as I understand it, we put money away each year to have available to use on county highway, or county projects. County highway projects, maybe is the way I want to say it. So I move that we continue to participate in that 50/50 road funding program and that we will put away $4,000 in that account.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Duncan, to continue participating in the county's highways 50/50 road funding program at a cost of $4,000. Discussion.
Is that what we have put into the fund in previous years, $4,000?
It's the maximum
It's
amount we
maximum.
can, and we can build that account up to 12,000, and then it's maxed out. So right after this 4,000, we'll have 8,000 in the account.
Okay, and that can be used for,
Could be used for 3rd Street, could be used for chip sealing, could be, with the county doing it, doing the project, could be used for bunker next year.
so we
if
can
that-
carry it over and
Yes.
use it for future projects if need be.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion as read by Chairman Mitchell will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed will signify by saying nay. That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, we also had discussion about participating with the YMCA for providing swimming lessons for children in the village. And we tabled a motion because we needed some answers to some questions from the Y. And there will be a report on that at the meeting that is coming up in May. So I will report back on that then at our next meeting, our next board meeting.
Is there gonna be any change from previous years? Because there's always, every year has been a cap and the cost and whatever.
I think it's going to be probably will remain the same, and it will be, we did get some more information from the Y director.
Okay.
So that will be reported out at this next meeting. We did have a report from Del Stewart from Public Works. They've been doing brush and leaf pickup in the village, which we probably all noticed. He also commented on the flooding that occurred along River Drive too, which he had never seen before. So that was interesting to some of those that hadn't been around quite as long to know that this was a first for that much flooding. And they are still working on replacing the urinal at the Ripple Creek Park, which has been an ongoing project since this winter.
It's done.
Is it done? Oh, thanks, Jeff. Okay, so now we've got confirmation that that is a completed project, which you wouldn't think it would have taken this long. And that is all I have. Our next meeting will be May 21st. So anyone who wants to attend, you're welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell. Pit Committee, Chairman Martinson.
Planning, Property, Information Technology met on April 30th. We had discussion regarding the sale of the village property located at North 6th Street. We also had conversation regarding the proposal to purchase the 8.5 acre parcel located at North 6th Street, and with the price that was given to us. We also had discussion and possible action regarding the medical arts building, and that was decided to let the designers be the designers as long as the style and color match both the medical arts and municipal buildings, and that was regarding the signage. Administrator Corman will be bringing samples from Rapid Sign, and I assume that you're still working on that. We'll have those probably at the next meeting. Am I correct? Okay, thank you. The roof had been completed and came in under budget. The demolition will start with the first week of May, and I see that that has been taking place. And the abatement is complete minus around the windows. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to accept James Bruner Timber Products proposal to purchase the village's 8.5 acre parcel located at North 6th Street for a total of $42,500 with the additions of a cul-de-sac right-of-way, water utility easement, and a limited access road.
Second.
Okay, motion by Chairman Martinson, second by Trustee Saylor, to accept James Bruner Timber Products proposal to purchase the village 8.5 acre parcel located at North 6th Street for $42,500 with the additions of a cul-de-sac right-of-way, water utility easement, and a limited access road. Discussion.
My understanding is this is fair market value of the property, correct?
Correct. It was,
There's no selling of the property for $1.
no, sir.
Okay,
I got a call on that, so explain later.
just making sure that it's,
Right. I believe, Mike, you told me that Mr. Klimmel had it at, it came in like 2,500 over the high end of that, or somewhere in there?
I believe the range was 30 to 42,000, or right in that ballpark.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion as read by Chairman Martinson will signify by saying aye.
aye.
Those opposed will signify by saying nay. That motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have nothing else for the committee report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Martenson. Public Safety, Chairman Grundon is not here, so Vice President will take over.
All right, so we had our meeting on May 7th at 5 o'clock, and there were public comments on the agenda in regards to concerns about safety of the support staff and whether signage should be put up about firearms being allowed in the village buildings. No action was formally taken. There was approval of the minutes and a suggestion regarding the TV routes in the village. That again was more or less just discussed. Further action will be taken at a later time, as will be any position on concealed carry within the village buildings. We had a report from Acting Chief Lon gave us a brief thing about some tasers. So we do have a motion to approve up to $1,700 for the purchase of some tasers from the Marshfield Police Department. They're used, but in very good condition. They are very much less value than what it would cost us to buy new, and these are in good shape. So I would move approval to for the expenditure of $1,700 for those tasers.
Second?
Did you just second?
No, not me. I'm asking for a second.
Second.
All right. Motion by the Vice President, second by Trustee Mansell to approve the motion as read by the Vice President. Discussion. Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. That motion carries unanimously.
Then, Acting Chief Wright, you discussed with us that we've had an equipment reimbursement grant that we've participated in from year to year. Be about $4,000. He asked for permission to renew that and to continue to participate. So I would move that we authorize completing or continuing in the equipment reimbursement grant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by the Vice President Ed Rev, second by Trustee Mansell. Do we have discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. That carries unanimously.
Then we did have a discussion about traffic or speeding enforcement. Specifically, we addressed a couple of roads, being Port Road and Seneca, which seem to be drag strips for some people. And with that in mind, then he asked for permission to participate in the county-wide speeding enforcement grant, which we've done previously, and we're going to renew that. So I would so move to do that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by the Vice President, second by Trustee Mansell. On the motion as read by the Vice President, do I have any discussion?
Just letting the public know in general that there will be a heightened enforcement on those roads over this summer. Quite frankly, I drive that direction or onto Port Road on a daily basis. And I really don't want to get T-boned by somebody driving 80. And I've seen people drive well in excess of 60 to 65 on that road. So just letting everybody know. So thanks. That's all I have.
Any other discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by nay. That motion carries unanimously.
We had a report from Chief Art regarding the police department and the approval of our assistant, or the fact that there would be a promotion for assistant chief, which we got to witness tonight. Then there was a discussion about some new administrative code regulations that were adopted by the state and the implementation of those. Then we discussed Safety Day, and there were about 100 kids, 300 people participated in that. There was a thank you to Officer Marcus for response for a family emergency, and a thank you from Kyle Cronin to to Lon Radke for his work as the police liaison officer. We adjourned, and next meeting is scheduled for June 4th at 5 p.m. That's all I have.
Thank you, Vice President Duncan. Finance and Human Resource Committee, Chairman Martinson.
Thank you. The Finance and Human Resources Committees met on May 1st and on May 9th. The May 1st meeting was just a closed session that we had, and there was nothing that came out of that meeting. On the 9th, we had a meeting. We had public comments from Jason Leverance, wondering why the village would need to put an interim administrator in place instantly. And it was discussed that that position was needed to be filled right away. Time was of the essence. We had received outside comment from Mr. Doug Caston, and I passed that information on to all board members. And he had concerns regarding filling the administrator position as well as a public works foreman position. And I did reply to his letter. With that being said, we did have a motion that was tabled regarding an interim village administrator, and that will be taken up at another meeting. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve to pay payment of the bills.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Martinson, second by Trustee Duncan to pay the bills. Discussion?
I just have a question.
Okay.
So as far as the Vanderbilt stuff, I guess my question is how do we go about, I mean, is it like a blank check with Vanderwall that they can do whatever and then we get the bill and then we just gotta pay the bill?
No, there have been, this particular bill was a little higher than previous expenses during previous months. And that was due to conversations that took place between attorneys and Mr. Harrington. It's not a blank check. There are multiple things that happen during the month that, for instance, if the administrator has to have conversations, there has been some interest shown in the properties, and of course, Mr. Harrington is representing the village on those items as well. And we're still trying to collect income that we have coming from bills that have not been paid. So I guess
Well, my question is two things. Like the opportunity zone, you know, there's a great expense in what we've paid for that, but in reading his memo, the explanation of the expenses, there's multiple municipalities that are included. Is that company working for those other municipalities, or are we paying for 100% of those municipalities to do the same opportunity zone?
my belief was that that is being split. Am I correct, Mike, on that?
That has not been communicated to me.
I thought it was a shared expense.
That has not been communicated to me.
I mean, that's something maybe we need to I understand what you're saying.
I did ask for clarification from Mr. Harrington and did not hear back from him.
Okay. Did you have anything that you knew of?
Oh, just that Mike had mentioned too, correct me if I'm wrong, something to the effect that that's what we have to clarify to make sure we're not paying for stuff that's not.
I don't want to pay for Rudolph, I don't want to pay for...
Right, it should be a shared expense. I
Yeah.
agree with you there.
And then the last thing is, as far as the administrative charges that he had on here for the public works job description stuff. Where's that money coming from? I mean, is that, did we budget for that, or,
No, we didn't.
okay,
What happened was the job description was rewritten for the Public Works foreman, and there were some changes made. And being that Mr. Harrington had originally he had wrote the description while he was the interim administrator, we decided to go back to him and let him make clarification. Mike Kornman did put together a draft, and it was just reviewed then by Scott Harrington. And again, that was because he was the one that rewrote it when he was the interim administrator.
so where did the approval come for that money to pay for that? Because if it's not budgeted, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's not budgeted, then it has to come through committee to approve those funds, right?
I don't recall exactly how that came
But
about.
he's right, yeah.
Yes, I mean, yes. I'm sorry.
Is this the
Not my time to say
$1,000?
It's the
this.
This is the $1,000. Okay, I wondered about that too, because I thought that the committee had already fairly well okayed it. And so, yeah,
Yeah, we
I guess
did-
I wondered.
We did okay it in a meeting, but then we sent it back for a review because there was
So the $1,000 is for the review.
the review. Am I-
It didn't look to me like there were many changes. That's, I mean, very, very little. I guess that's why I wondered about that.
My biggest concern is if we're gonna spend money that's not budgeted, then it needs to go through committee, or at least, so everybody's on the same page. I don't want just an open checkbook, you know?
Well, I don't think we're there, but your point is well taken.
Yes, I was gonna say, it wasn't meant to be an open checkbook and just that we would let anything pass. The other thing that came into play here was the fact that when the job description was rewritten for the Public Works foreman position, which is what that individual title will be, there was also a rewriting somewhat of the village administrator's position. And that was due to the fact that a previous board had rewrote those job descriptions. And with the help of Mr. Kornman, we wanted to make sure that everything was covered. I understand what you're saying. It was a decision that wasn't actually put out there to be approved, and $1,000 was spent. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I apologize that we didn't take proper action to go through the committee to get that approved and then take it to the board.
And I share the responsibility on that one.
Just for future reference, I'll have to be with my specific committee that I have dealing with DMI. I'm going to have to be working occasionally with Scott, but before Scott's brought in, I'm going to want some sort of a fiscal note as to what the cost will be associated with his services before he gets involved, so we know what it is.
That's my biggest concern, you know, the HR committee, when we were on it, you know, we just get the itemized bill. I
Well,
think
which is even, I complained to even get it as itemized. It used to be just, here's the time.
Here's the bill.
So,
Trustee Duncan, your situation on the special committee, you have the carte blanche to, there's, because of the expediency, to do more
Yeah.
in that regard.
but I'm just letting everyone know that
Fine.
I'm gonna do it that way, because that way then.
And
we
most
have
of your
some
stuff is TIF.
That is correct, and so a lot of that will be coming out of the TIF, but even there, I want to just be clear to everybody that I'll be exercising authority by some sort of a fiscal note before I do anything.
Did you ever give me the name of that committee? Mike, go ahead.
Just one thing to consider, when we do utilize MSA for consulting for public works projects, when they, they oftentimes provide some services to us gratis. But when they have billable hours on a billable project, what they do is take, they submit a task order, and we approve, the board approved one tonight, and so that goes to committee, and it outlines specifically what will be done and for how much, and then that goes to committee and then goes to the board for approval. And what that does is give all of you oversight, and it lays out XYZ, what services will be done for that task. And as a board, you may want to consider implementing that with the Vanderwalt contract.
Good idea.
Maybe we get that on our agenda for the next time. I don't question that the work's getting done, it's just.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Eric.
You're doing your job. Any more?
If there was business that was being created over there, then we'd see the banks go.
Trying.
You're doing a good job, Tina. I want you to know that. Anyway, is there any other discussion on paying the bills? Hearing no further requests to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes
I'm
unanimously.
gonna
Oh,
need that.
you're an A? I'm sorry. The one time I don't say it. Okay, that passes. How many people we got here? 5? Yeah. 4-1.
I would like to make a motion to approve the Public Works foreman position description. All of you should have received what I...
We have to do the journal entries.
Oh, thank you. Make a motion to approve the journal entries for the previous month.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Martins, a second by Trustee Duncan to approve the journal entries from the previous month. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by nay. Motion carried.
Now, moving on, I will make a motion to approve the Public Works foreman position description, job description, and all of you should have received a copy of that. That was the final draft, and it was number 3, as I believe. Any questions? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Motion by Chairman Martinson to
Second.
approve this. Okay. Motion to approve the Public Works Foreman position description, second by Trustee Duncan. Discussion. Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by nay. That motion carries unanimously.
We had a presentation from Administrator Corman regarding the urban forestry contract. And I'd like to make a motion to accept the urban forestry contract.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Martinson, second by Trustee Duncan to accept the urban forestry contract. Discussion.
Can I ask one question?
Sure. Yes, Sue.
Is that, Carrie Blooms?
Hmm?
Is that the is that the Forester?
Yes.
Okay.
Previously,
so-
Mr. Bloom.
Yep. So he already got paid for that, for the entire year, right?
We always pay in May for the coming year, but now the contract says to pay after October, so that's what we'll be doing. So on your
We're
bills to
not-
be paid, that one will be reversed.
Okay, so we're not open money,
No,
it's only a couple $100, but
no, only
Okay.
anything, yep.
it's all I got.
Do you want to speak at all on that, Mike?
No, this is just putting the, in years past, it's been a less formal agreement, and so this just puts it in the form of a service contract, and Juris will do a great job. He's very knowledgeable, and he'll do a wonderful job, and I know Gary Bloom will help with the transition too.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion on the urban forestry contract will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
One other item that was discussed was changing the current village self-insured life insurance policy to a life insurance policy that is with the Principal Insurance Group. And the reason for the change is because it was brought to our attention that having a self-insured policy is not in the best interest of the village of Port Edwards. So we therefore went out and sought a couple bids, and for $10,000, of coverage, it would be a cost of a total of $595.92 per year to cover the 12 employees. And typically, you would do this at the beginning of the year, but because it was brought to our attention at the end of 2018, we had to we had to go through the process, so we had to go through getting bids and getting the information and so on and so forth, but we did come to a conclusion that this was a good idea for us, and then we are in compliance. Luckily, there has never been a claim on against the insurance policy, so
We were actually self-funding life insurance.
yes, they were.
Oh, I can't imagine there'd be any problem with that. Wow.
That's in your bailiwick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
now we have it corrected, so I
Good.
think that is a plus, and I thank Administrator Kornman for discussing that with,
Good pickup.
it was brought to his attention, and he brought it to our attention. So moving forward, we now have a motion on the table, which I will...
Second.
Let me gather my composure, folks. We have a motion by Chairman Martenson, second by Trustee Duncan, to change the village current $10,000 self-insured life insurance policy to the life insurance policy with Principal Insurance Group for $10,000 at a cost of $49.66 per month or $595.92 a year for 12 employees effective July 1st, 2019. Discussion.
Is that $10,000 of a unit, and they can purchase more than one unit?
No,
You only
that
get
is
$10,000.
$10,000 flat, and we will revisit this at the end of 2019. And if we want to add additional benefits at the employee's cost, we will at that time.
That's already.
We just wanted to correct the issue.
Anybody else? Nothing more? Mr. Vice
I think I've said enough.
Okay, as those in favor of the motion as read will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
I have nothing other than the fact that we do have our next meeting set for June 6th at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, unfinished business from previous meetings. New business. Report for village administrator.
Yeah, as noted a little bit earlier, with the discussion regarding an interim administrator, I've decided to pursue other opportunities. I want to say thank you to everyone in the community, the board, and especially the village staff. It's been a good experience, and I've really appreciated all your dedication to the village. There's two people I want to single out because they've been longtime employees and done a wonderful job, and that's Assistant Chief Lon Radke and Dale Stewart. They are true public servants, and I want to thank them for their dedication to the village.
Thanks, Mike. Clerk Treasurer.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve a temporary Class B beer license for the Port Edwards Fire Department Athletic Association for one day only, June 14th, 2019.
Second.
Or we need it first, yeah.
You're the first.
Oh, I did. All right, well then I
She
move.
can't make
That's
motions.
true.
So I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by the Vice President, second by Trustee Mitchell to approve the motion as read. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd like to also ask for a motion to approve an operator's license for the Port Edwards Fire Department for Donald Katowski, valid through June 30th, 2020.
Moved.
Motion by the Vice President, second
Second.
by Trustee Martenson to approve the motion as read. Discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, starting with Eric, trustee comments.
I would just like to thank Mike for your time and moving some stuff forward. I appreciate your time here, and I wish you the best of luck.
Luann?
Yes, I also would like to thank Administrator Klarman for his time, and I wish you all the luck moving forward. And I know that you were very instrumental in helping Trustee Saylor with moving forward with the splash pad project, and I think we thank you very much for that.
Dana?
Just also, sorry to see you leave, Mike, but I understand you have your life to lead, and so good luck.
Thank you.
Sue?
Ditto to all the comments before, and you really hit the road running when you came into this position, and I very much appreciate the support as a board member with all the projects that you move forward with your knowledge, so.
Betsy?
Thank you. When I first got elected, it was we spent a lot of time talking and a lot of emails answering a lot of my questions, so I appreciate you getting me off on the right foot.
Are we still on for lunch tomorrow? Okay.
Can I bring up one more thing?
What's that?
Can I bring up one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have another meeting before the fireman's dance? I don't know if we do or not, another board meeting, but maybe Patrick would like to say something about the fireman's dance.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Patrick, I'm sorry.
June 14th, the 31st annual Port Edwards Fireman's Dance. We have road trips, we'll be here, and hopefully the weather holds and we don't have any rain. So it's our largest fundraiser for the year, and hope to see everybody there.
Okay. That do it? President Stewart, I don't want to leave you out, you're not a trustee, but I'll let you say some more. You're okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, committee agenda, our calendar, there's 9 meetings coming up between tomorrow, May 15th, and the board meeting on June 11th. Wednesday, June 15th at 6 p.m., Committee of the Whole will meet in the municipal building. And May 20th at 6:15, did I say 6:15 for the first one?
You said June o'clock.
6, okay, all right, thank you.
6 o'clock tomorrow.
You did say June, so it's May.
Did I? Thank you, Betsy. May 20th, 6:15 is a special board meeting to approve the 2 motions that will come out of the Committee of the Whole. That's on Monday, June 20th, 6:15 in the municipal building. Then the next day, Chairman Mitchell and the CERT Committee on the 21st will meet at 5 p.m. in the municipal building, and that's a Tuesday. Then Chairman Martinson and the Pit Committee will meet on the 28th of May at 5 p.m. in the municipal building, also a Tuesday. Then also on May 28th at 6:30 p.m. in the municipal building, there will be a special meeting of the Police and Fire Commission. Then on Monday, June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. will be the regular Police and Fire Commission meeting in the municipal building. June 4th at 5 p.m. on Tuesday will be the Public Safety meeting, also in the municipal building.
I will not be able to attend. I'll be on the road.
Then on June 6th at 5 p.m. municipal building that Thursday will be the Finance and Human Resource meeting. And that brings us back to Edwards Alexander on Tuesday, June 11th at 7 p.m. for the regular board meeting.
And I will be in Chicago.
On the 11th?
Yep, I have oral arguments in the 7th Circuit on Wednesday morning.
Okey-dokey. When's Tiara back, do you know?
I thought she said the 25th.
Okay, so I thought.
Is there HR?
Tomorrow night, Dana cannot make it, and Tiara,
I can-
you can make it tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll make
Okay,
it tomorrow. I
great,
can-
great,
I can
forget
move
that.
stuff around.
Fine.
Monday, I could possibly be there Monday. It'll depend on how quickly the judge gets stuff done in Green Bay.
Is that the one that you say is never on time?
This is a different judge. I've yet to have this particular judge, so I have no idea. So it could be on time, it could not be on time. I'm always at the mercy of people wearing black robes.
So you will just fire me a text?
I will let you know as soon as I know. So,
And also on the 20th, Tiara will be gone, and Betsy, you will be gone also. So Eric and Sue, and Luann, hopefully nothing will come up, but if one of you three can't make it, then we cannot have a meeting if Dana can.
On the 20th, the special board meeting?
You're pretty sure, Sue?
It's on my calendar.
Luann?
yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, and hopefully Dana will be able to make it. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We're done.
Just a special